Colony collapse disorder is a phenomenon recently triggered by human practices, habitat destruction, and the use of a pesticide called neonicotinoids, decimating local bee populations. From 2007 to 2013, there have been over 10 million beehives lost as the result of colony collapse disorder.
Seeing as these issues of colony collapse disorder carry over to Colgate, we believed we should explore having an apiary on Colgate's campus in order to help further the sustainable profile. Now, you will hear from a few guests who we conducted interviews with to see the feasibility of beehives at Colgate.
Half of what we grow is donated to the food cupboard in town, and the other half we split between a farm stand on campus in the fall. We also have a farm stand in the summer once a week, and then we are now back in the dining halls. I think it's a great educational opportunity for sure. It would absolutely help our plants. I'm sure you know through all your research that the bee population is, hurting. So even with the steps we've taken with the flower garden and stuff, we still see kind of a decrease in pollinators in general.
Our next interview is with a student from Cornell who currently runs the Cornell Beehive Keeping Club.
Over the winter, it's not too bad because, it's a long winter. You close them up in November. You don't have to really, you check in on them once in a while in February and March, but you don't really do much until end of April, early May. Currently at the tier where we get $2,000 a semester. And this semester was the first semester where we have enough gear and whatnot that we kind of had to scratch our heads as to what to spend the money on. Thinking 5 years out, you could probably run the club on like $500 a semester or less, probably.
This interview is with Professor Helfon, who currently keeps bees in the local Hamilton area.
Very interesting. There are certain times a year that are very labor intensive. Those really are the spring and the fall. And the fall is the most labor intensive time of all because you can harvest honey from beehives in this area either once or twice a year. I mean, there's many different approaches to it, but typically you might have an early spring flow where the bees are gathering a lot of pollen and nectar, so it's a nectar flow. And that might yield enough honey to harvest already in, let's say, June, or particularly by late June. If you only had one hive, I think you could maybe get away with certainly under 10 hours of work. And then if you had 10 hives, it wouldn't be 100 hours work, so it's not it's not sort of the geometrical progression.
Throughout our research, interviews, and dialogues with other institutions, the clear educational benefits of campus beehives became apparent. From hands-on labs to community involvement and expansion of the curriculum, the academic uses are just another prominent reason for beehives on Colgate's campus. We got to sit down with Professor Ingram of the biology department to hear what she had to say about the idea.
So I can see a couple different ways it could be incorporated in the curriculum. Aside from just research purposes, if it got large enough, we could actually use them in my lab for research because a lot of the things I do on ants would be fascinating to have comparative studies with bees in terms of behavioral genetics. But in terms of curricular, we already do a pollination lab in our introductory biology course, and that's primarily to get students out of the classroom and sort of exploring what Colgate has to offer outside as well. And so that would be a really natural way to easily expand the curriculum. That is, they could do the pollination experiment where they're looking at the behavior of bees in the field, and then they can bring it back to the hive and do some interesting experiments with the hive. I also teach an animal behavior class, and we do lots of different types of laboratory and field experiments, including both observation and experimental manipulations. So I would love to have the opportunity to do some bee work in that.
After hearing from peer institutions, beekeepers, and other research and literature, we believe in the feasibility of campus beehives for Colgate. We estimate initial costs for the hives and necessary gear to be only around $1,000. And as gathered from Cornell's Beekeeping Club, less than $500 a semester in necessary funding once the hives are implemented. The extremely low costs and immense benefits make campus beehives an attractive next step in augmenting Colgate's renowned sustainability profile. With nearby peer institutions like Cornell and Hamilton already having beehives, they have both proposed the idea of future collaboration. Continuing Colgate's record of sustainability and relationship with the Village of Hamilton are two aspects upon which our university prides itself. We feel that a future with beekeeping and hives accomplishes both of these goals in a relatively simple manner. The sustainable, educational, and recreational parts of beekeeping offer benefits far into the future. Thus, we truly believe now is the perfect time for its implementation.